Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown review. And Smackdown tonight, I thought it was a decent show, in my opinion. The show was building up towards Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. If Daniel Bryan ended up losing the match, he would be gone from SmackDown. So the show basically was built heading towards that match, which was the main event. But overall, SmackDown was a decent show tonight. Really enjoyed SmackDown. 2 weeks already that SmackDown has delivered decent shows. Last week was a decent show. This week, was another decent show. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. So SmackDown opened up tonight with the SmackDown Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair ended up making her way to the ring. Bianca then got into the ring. She ended up saying that it's her pleasure to welcome us to the coolest, the dopest, the hottest show on Fox, which of course is SmackDown. So Bianca ended up telling us to put our hands together and then, of course, she got interrupted by Roode and Dolph Ziggler, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Dirty Dogs. So Dolph got on the mic. He kept saying, when we kick off SmackDown, we do it right with the Dirty Dogs. So Roode ended up getting on the mic. Roode ended up telling Bianca to let them take it from here, to let him and Dolph take it from here. So Dolph was ranting about how him and Roode are the best, and they then got interrupted by the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. So then we had Bayley end up coming out. So Bayley ended up walking into the ring, ended up snatching the mic from Bianca. And then Bayley just laughs at Bianca, the same laugh that she did last week. So Bayley was still laughing, and Bianca ended up just dropping Bayley. And Bianca wanted Bayley to fight her. Bayley ended up tackling Bianca, started mounting her with strikes. So the Street Profits and Roode and Ziggler end up coming into the ring. They end up brawling, and then SmackDown went to commercial. But overall, this whole segment right here, this whole little segment right here, it was not needed, in my opinion. They could have just went right to having the match. So, but it was not needed, this segment with Bianca coming out and then having her get interrupted by Roode and Ziggler, and then having the Profits and Bayley. They should have just went right to the match. So then we had the Street Profits and Bianca Belair versus Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, and Bayley. And this was a decent match here. This wasn't a bad match. So we had Bayley and Bianca end up starting the match. Bayley ended up taking control of the match. She ended up leveling Bianca with a clothesline. Bianca then ended up rolling up Bayley for a 2 count and then a shoulder block. Bayley ended up swatting a drop kick from Bianca and rolled up Bianca, got a quick 1 count. So Bayley ended up hitting the turnbuckles, which Bianca ended up delivering a drop kick and a kip up to Bayley. So Dolph Ziggler ended up tagging in, and he's mounting off at Bianca. Angelo Dawkins ended up running in. He ended up sending Dolph flying with a big shoulder. Dolph then ended up running the ropes. Montez Ford ended up coming in, and he ended up doing a big drop kick to Ziggler. Roode came in, and the Profits ended up double teaming him. So Roode, Ziggler, and Bayley were all sent out to the floor. Montez Ford then ran the ropes. He ended up leaping out, and he ended up taking Dolph and Robert Roode out on the outside. So Montez Ford ended up bringing Dolph Ziggler back into the ring. Bayley ended up driving Bianca into the ring steps. So Montez Ford ended up getting distracted, and he turned around, and Ziggler ended up delivering a super kick to Montez Ford. Dolph ended up going for the pin. Ford ended up rolling out to the floor to recover. So Dolph ended up tagging in Robert Roode, and him and Ziggler ended up double teaming on Montez Ford in the corner. Roode then delivered a Uranagi to Montez Ford, and he went for the cover, which Ford ended up kicking out too. At the end of the match, you had Roode end up rolling up Dawkins. Roode ended up grabbing Dawkins' tights, and Bianca ended up slapping Roode with her hair. She ended up whipping Roode with her hair, which, I always love when Bianca, does, the whip with her hair to, her opponent. But she ended up doing it to Roode, and Dawkins went for the anointment on Roode, and Montez Ford ended up coming in, and he delivered a frog splash onto Roode. And there you go. The Street Profits and Bianca Belair ended up winning the match. Overall, this was a decent match. This was a enjoyable match, in my opinion. It wasn't bad. And then we had Kayla Braxton backstage. Kayla Braxton was backstage with Daniel Bryan. Braxton was asking Daniel Bryan about the main event. Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he's at peace with the stipulation and is excited for the match against Roman. But he was like, maybe we should be asking Roman how he feels. Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he's confident. This is what he's wanted. Having Reigns one-on-one. And that he's confident that he will make Reigns tap out again. Daniel Bryan ended up saying that when he does win the Universal Championship, the first title defense won't be Reigns' rematch. And that the first shot, when he puts the Universal Championship on the line, will go to Cesaro. So that was what Daniel Bryan had to say. Good, interview with Daniel Bryan there. Showing that he is excited about heading into the main event, facing Roman for the Universal Championship. So we went to Seth Rollins in the back. Seth Rollins was laughing at what Daniel Bryan said when Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he'll give the first shot at the Universal Championship to Cesaro. So Rollins ended up predicting that Daniel Bryan will win the match later on tonight against Roman. And he ended up saying that Cesaro won't get a Universal Championship shot because he's not going to make it past next week. So that was what Seth Rollins had to say. And then we went to Megan Morant backstage with Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and Reginald. Of course, Megan Morant is the new Smackdown, interviewer backstage. So Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler end up brushing Megan Morant off, and they said that they're looking ahead to going out and proving why they're the champs and what they're made of to Natalya and Tamina. Nia Jax was then ranting about how her and Shayna Baszler are tired of the disrespect that they've been getting on both Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. So then we had Natalya and Tamina end up attacking Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler out of nowhere. And that was that. And then we had the match. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Tamina and Natalya. To sum up this match, this is how, I sum up this match. There you go. That summed up this whole match. It's the same shit, the same match with these women. It's like every single week. What is so different that we haven't seen in the other matches that they had? Same shit. Natalya and Tamina ended up winning. Moving on. So we had a video of Booker T. Booker T was predicting who would win the main event tonight against Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. And he ended up picking Roman Reigns to win the match and retain the Universal Championship. So that was Booker T's prediction. And we also got a promo for SmackDown next week, because next week's SmackDown is going to be a throwback SmackDown. So that's set for next Friday. So we're going to be getting a throwback SmackDown, just like how they did, Raw old school back in the day. So we're going to be getting the throwback SmackDown. And I saw many people saying, "Oh, with this throwback SmackDown, will WWE, make the stage and bring back the SmackDown Fist?" No, they're not going to bring the SmackDown Fist. As much as I would like to see them bring the SmackDown Fist stage out, because that was one of the best, stages that WWE has done for SmackDown, and it's the stage that. When I always watched SmackDown as a kid, that symbolizes, what SmackDown was when I was a kid. Seeing that awesome looking stage with the fist. But no, they're not gonna bring back the SmackDown Fist. So we saw Shinsuke Nakamura backstage. So he gave his predictions on who would win the main event later on. He ended up predicting that Daniel Bryan would win the match because he has too much to lose. And Nakamura ended up saying that he will be waiting for Roman if he retains the Universal Championship. So Nakamura predicted Daniel Bryan to win. And then we had Kayla Braxton backstage with Rey and Dominic Mysterio. Kayla Braxton ended up asking them about a possible SmackDown Tag Team titles shot. So both Rey and Dominic talk about how nice it's been teaming together. Rey ended up saying that he's done a lot in WWE, but becoming the first father and son team to hold gold in WWE would be legendary. So that was what Rey had to say. But seeing Rey and Dominic, maybe future SmackDown Tag Team Champions, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind seeing both of them as the champions. So the whole tag team division on SmackDown and on Monday Night Raw is complete shit. We all know that. So then we got another vignette from Aleister Black. Aleister Black was continuing with the Tales of the Dark Father book that he started last week. He kept saying that this chapter is called Reality. Aleister Black ended up saying that people look at him and judge him by making assumptions. He wanted to say that this is the true nature of now, and that he's always lived in this reality. He ended up saying that in high school, people like you littered the halls, so unaware, lost in the concept of success and adoration that you'd been fed. He was like the prom date, the right college, a house with a picket fence. He was like, imagine thinking any of that is real. So Aleister Black went on to say that you built a foundation of lies. He ended up saying about how his father never taught him about any of that others were caught up with, and never feed him the lies. Aleister Black wanted to say that his father ended up teaching him the truth. Aleister Black ended up believing that people like the fans have been fed ideas of success that are just lies. Black went on and said that there is something horribly wrong with society and with you. Aleister Black ended up saying that he could help society and give them the keys to escape. But he will not do that. So that was how that ended. But who knows where they're going with Aleister Black, as of now. I mean, they just, showed him reappearing on WWE television last week when he hasn't even been used in months. I think the last time that he was used was back in October, and he was kept off TV until last week. So hopefully they do Aleister Black justice this time. Give him a push because he so rightfully deserves it. But, we'll see what WWE does with Aleister Black. So then we had Megan Morant. Megan Morant was now with Big E. Morant was asking Big E if he's changed his strategy since losing the Intercontinental Championship to Apollo Crews at WrestleMania. Big E ended up saying that everyone is asking what he will do different in his rematch. He ended up saying that he and Apollo have been around and around, and that tonight all that comes to an end because he is going to get his baby back, the Intercontinental Championship. Big E ended up going on and ended up saying that he assures everyone that he will become a 3-time Intercontinental Champion. And you've got to feel that. So, Big E was hyped up, when he was saying this. He was ready to go. He was, excited to have this rematch against Apollo Crews. So, and then Big E made his way out. And Apollo Crews was shown backstage with Commander Aziz. And then SmackDown went to commercial. And when SmackDown came back from the commercial, Big E was shown sitting on the apron. And he was waiting for Apollo Crews to come out. So we had a pre-recorded video of Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, which they were predicting who was going to win the main event tonight, whether it be Daniel Bryan or Roman Reigns. Xavier Woods predicted that Daniel Bryan was going to win. And Kofi, he was shown in his car. He had his kids right in the back. So Kofi ended up saying that he is going with Roman Reigns because of course, the Jey Uso factor. Because Jey Uso is always helping Roman win his matches. So Kofi ended up saying that normally he was going to go and pick Daniel Bryan. So that was that. So those are the predictions from Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. So then we had Apollo Crews come out along with Commander Aziz. So this was the match, Big E versus Apollo Crews. Rematch, Intercontinental Championship on the line. So the match ended up started. Apollo Crews ended up taking Big E into the corner. They ended up locking up again. Big E ended up slamming Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews then got tossed by Big E. Big E then took control and he applied the abdominal stretch on Apollo Crews. So Big E was unloading with forearms to Apollo Crews. He ended up dropping Apollo with the elbow, went for the cover, which Apollo ended up kicking out too. So Big E ended up dropping Apollo Crews on the apron. Big E then ended up running and he ended up hitting a big splash to Apollo. So Apollo Crews ended up stunning Big E with on the top rope. He ended up delivering a clothesline to Big E. So Apollo Crews ended up hitting a suplex to Big E on the floor. So then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, we saw Apollo Crews was dominating on Big E. Big E ran into a boot from Apollo in the corner. So Apollo Crews ended up coming off the ropes, and Big E ended up nailing a overhead throw on Apollo Crews. Big E then got sent to the apron. He knocked off Apollo Crews with an enziguri kick. So Apollo Crews ended up going to the apron, and he ended up hitting a nice moonsault to Big E out to the floor. So Apollo Crews ended up going to the top, and Big E ended up moving. Big E ended up delivering a belly-to-belly suplex to Apollo Crews. Big E ran the ropes and delivered a splash to Apollo Crews, but Apollo ended up kicking out at 2. So at the end of the match, Big E ended up scooping up Apollo Crews for the big ending, which he did. Big E ended up delivering the big ending to Apollo Crews. So Big E went for the cover, but Commander Aziz ended up breaking the pin up. He ended up pulling Big E out to the floor, which caused a disqualification. So Big E ended up winning the match by disqualification, although, of course, Apollo Crews ended up retaining the Intercontinental Championship. Post-match, we had Commander Aziz end up coming into the ring to check on Apollo Crews. And then we saw Kevin Owens end up running down to the ring. Kevin Owens was unloading on Commander Aziz, and Apollo Crews ended up making the save. He ended up dropping Kevin Owens. So Commander Aziz ended up delivering the Nigerian nail to Kevin Owens. Of course, when Commander Aziz does the Nigerian nail, it's the same move that Umaga used as his finisher, which, Umaga, rest in peace. Umaga ended up using the same move, only when Umaga used it, it was known as the Samoan Spike. So we had Apollo Crews again knocked out of the ring. Kevin Owens and Big E end up double teaming on Commander Aziz. Commander Aziz ended up dropping Big E with a headbutt, and then he went over and started being down on Kevin Owens. So Sami Zayn then ended up appearing out of nowhere. Sami Zayn delivered a haluva kick to Kevin Owens in the corner. So Commander Aziz ended up going back to beat up on Big E. Apollo Crews ended up stumbling back into the ring. So Commander Aziz ended up kicking Big E out of the ring. Sami Zayn ended up having the Intercontinental Championship. And he turns around with the Intercontinental Championship. And Commander Aziz and Apollo Crews were staring him down. Sami Zayn ended up telling Commander Aziz and Apollo Crews to take it easy. No problems here. I'm cool with you guys. So Sami Zayn was shown raising Apollo Crews' arm, and then Sami ended up raising Commander Aziz's arm, and he was assuring to the both of them that there are no problems. So then Commander Aziz ended up dropping Sami Zayn with the Nigerian nail. So that was that. Overall, this was a decent match between Big E and Apollo Crews. And with the disqualification, you know that Big E and Apollo Crews are going to have another match, and that's going to be at WrestleMania Backlash. I definitely know that's going to be booked for WrestleMania Backlash with the Intercontinental Championship on the line. So we're going to be getting another rematch against them at WrestleMania Backlash. So then we had a video from The Miz. So The Miz ended up giving his predictions on the main event and who's going to win. So The Miz ended up choosing Roman Reigns to win the match. He He ended up saying that no one on the entire SmackDown roster can beat Roman, and Daniel Bryan cannot. So that was that. So The Miz ended up choosing Roman Reigns. Of course, The Miz went for Roman Reigns because, of course, The Miz and Daniel Bryan, they have, history, of their feud. But I was saying, The Miz and Daniel Bryan, of course, they have history together, their feud. So, but then we had Kayla Braxton. She was backstage. She was outside Roman's door, locker room, and she was calling for Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman ended up stepping out of Roman's room, and Paul Heyman, he didn't look too thrilled to be interviewed by Kayla Braxton. So then SmackDown went to commercial, and then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, we had Cesaro. Cesaro ended up accepting Seth Rollins' challenge for next week. So we're going to be seeing that, next week. Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. And Cesaro gave his prediction on who will win the main event. He predicted Daniel Bryan to win the main event. Cesaro ended up saying that, he then predicts that he will win the Universal Championship from Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania Backlash. So that was what Cesaro had to say. So then we had Kayla Braxton. She was interviewing Paul Heyman. Kayla Braxton ended up asking Paul Heyman about Daniel Bryan. And Paul Heyman was like, he's so tired of hearing about Daniel Bryan. Paul Heyman ended up going on acknowledging some of Daniel Bryan's success and accomplishments. He ended up talking about how everyone thinks Daniel Bryan will win tonight and take Roman's seat at the head of the table. So Paul Heyman was like, everything is yes, yes, yes. And Heyman ended up asking if it will actually happen. And he ended up saying, no, no, no. He ended up saying that Daniel Bryan will not do this. And he will not do that. And he will not be seen on SmackDown again. No, no, no. So that was the little interview with Paul Heyman there. Main event. Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. Universal Championship on the line. And Daniel Bryan's career on the line. Of course, if Daniel Bryan end up losing the match, he is gone from SmackDown. So Daniel Bryan was the first one to come out to the ring. So he made his way out. And then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, we saw Corbin backstage commenting about this match. So Corbin wanted to say that he dislikes both Roman and Daniel Bryan. But he ended up saying that the benefit of Daniel Bryan losing means that he has to pack his bags and go home. So that was what Corbin had to say, but that was not needed. I mean, why have Corbin, comment on the match when, it's going to be that quick? Was not needed. So then out came Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns came out with a new theme music, which is awesome. I really love Roman's new theme music. I think it was time that WWE end up giving Roman new music. Take away his Shield music. It was time for Roman to get new music. But really, really enjoyed his new theme. It fits his character. It fits him really well. So I just love it. So we had Roman end up taking his time to get into the ring as always. Then Roman came into the ring, raised the Universal Championship. So the match started off. Daniel Bryan ended up nailing the drop kick to Roman in the corner. Started unloading with yes kicks. Reigns ended up leveling Daniel Bryan with a right hand. And he ended up leveling Daniel Bryan with a shoulder tackle. Reigns then ended up catching Daniel Bryan, locked in the bear hug. But Daniel Bryan ended up fighting Roman down to the mat. Daniel Bryan ended up going for the yes lock. Reigns ended up retreating out to the floor. Daniel Bryan ended up dropping Roman at ringside with a flying knee. Then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, we saw Daniel Bryan was in control of the match. He was, softening up Roman's arm and shoulder. Daniel Bryan was delivering yes kicks in the corner to Roman, and Daniel Bryan ended up doing a run and drop kick in the corner. Delivered two run and drop kicks to Roman in the corner. Daniel Bryan ended up charging for a third run and drop kick, but Reigns ended up exploding out of the corner and delivered a right hand to Daniel Bryan. So Reigns ended up pinning Daniel Bryan, which Daniel Bryan ended up kicking out at 2. Reigns started delivering some headbutts to Daniel Bryan, and Reigns delivered a snap suplex to Daniel Bryan, which he went for the cover, which Daniel Bryan ended up kicking out at 2. So Reigns was just pounding Daniel Bryan, and he locked in the headlock. So Reigns ended up dropping Daniel Bryan with a knee. Reigns was working Daniel Bryan in the corner. Daniel Bryan countered and ended up running the ropes. Reigns ended up delivering a back elbow to Daniel Bryan. Went for the cover, which Daniel Bryan kicked out at 2. Reigns ended up charging at Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan ended up sending Reigns into the turnbuckle. So Reigns went face first into the turnbuckle, the middle turnbuckle. Daniel Bryan was delivering more yes kicks in the corner. Daniel Bryan went to the top to deliver a hurricanrana, but Reigns ended up blocking the hurricanrana, and Reigns ended up delivering a power bomb from the second rope to Daniel Bryan. It was a nice looking power bomb from the second rope. So Reigns went for the cover. Daniel Bryan ended up kicking out at 2. Reigns couldn't believe it. So we had, at the end of the match, we had Roman Reigns end up tightening the guillotine, and Daniel Bryan was fading, and the referee was checking on him. The referee ended up calling for the match because Daniel Bryan ended up passing out. So Roman Reigns won the match and retained the Universal Championship. And Daniel Bryan is now gone from SmackDown. Post-match, we saw Paul Heyman end up coming into the ring. He ended up handing the Universal Championship to Roman. Roman ended up raising the title in the air. Reigns then ended up bringing in 2 chairs into the ring. Cesaro ended up running out. He ended up making a save for Daniel Bryan. Cesaro took off his suit jacket, and he ended up delivering a running uppercut to Roman against the barricade. So Cesaro was just working on Roman at ringside, and Jey Uso ended up attacking Cesaro from behind. Jey Uso was beating Cesaro up on the apron. Jey Uso ended up super kicking him, rolled him into the ring, and Cesaro was trapped in the ropes. He was trapped in the ring ropes. And Cesaro was forced to watch Roman deliver a concerto to Daniel Bryan. So Jey Uso then ended up holding Cesaro in the ropes, in place of the ropes, and he had a headlock locked in on Cesaro. So Paul Heyman ended up raising the Universal Championship in the air, and Reigns was taunting Cesaro. Daniel Bryan was laid out, and that was how SmackDown went off the air. But this match, it was a very good match here. And Daniel Bryan now gone from SmackDown. And here are my 2 thoughts on what Daniel Bryan might do. Number 1, Daniel Bryan will possibly be a part-timer. Or number 2, and I am definitely going with number 2. I think Daniel Bryan is going to Monday Night Raw. And with Daniel Bryan possibly going to Monday Night Raw, he could bring some decency, some little decency to the show, because Monday Night Raw desperately, and I mean desperately, needs a little decency, because that show is horrible every single Monday night, from the rematches and rematches every single week. Daniel Bryan could definitely bring some little decency to Monday Night Raw. He could have a match with Bobby Lashley. He could face Drew McIntyre. Daniel Bryan could bring some little decency to that show, because that show desperately needs, a little something. But overall, SmackDown was a decent show tonight. And, we had, like I said at the beginning, we had 2 weeks worth of decent SmackDowns. Let's hope they keep it up. But anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's SmackDown. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all later.